Okay, welcome. This is the Courageous Messenger podcast. And I'll introduce Lisa here in just a minute, but just a few things to say about the podcast and kind of how this rolls. If you're new to our world, this podcast is to work with budding and established thought leaders, people who really have a message for the world that can help move the needle in some of our much needed change in this world, in people's lives, in their businesses, in institutions, and at global and international scales. The work we do here is to help refine the message and sharpen the messenger. So it's always a mixture of the two. Oftentimes it looks a little bit more like leadership coaching for part of the call and a little bit more like message coaching for another part of the call. We have our whole list of past episodes that you can find at thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast, thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast. At the top of the page, you'll also see two other links. The first one is a link to apply to be a guest. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, I'd love to be in the spotlight on one of those episodes, go to thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast, click on the link to apply to be a guest. We review all the applications. We do book up months in advance. So if you apply, we will review it. And if it seems like you might be a fit, we'll be in touch and go to next steps from there. Some of you may be watching and thinking or even feeling, wow, I really need to get some of this work sooner than later. I really want to step in and sharpen my message now. So the other link you'll see at the top of that page is a link to apply to have a message mentoring session with really one of my message experts on the team. When you apply for a message mentoring session, the first thing you'll do is answer a few questions and find a time on our team's calendar to talk with somebody on our team. What we'll do on these sessions is first do a diagnostic. What's working and what's not working about your message and why. We'll then send you to a training specifically for the thing that you need to address to help make your message work better, help make more people understand who you are, what you're about, and want to say yes to what you have to offer. And if there's some work we can do to help you grow your message, we'll have a follow-up call after your first message mentoring session to see about doing deeper work together. So both of those two opportunities, as well as past episodes, are all found at thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast. And for everything else in our world, you can just go to thecourageousmessenger.com and find that there. With that said, Lisa, welcome.
Oh my goodness, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm delighted you are here. Thank you. So I always start with just kind of an energetic tune-in. But first, I'm going to have you just share a little bit about who you are, where you live, what you do. Then we'll do an energetic kind of thing and go from there. So why don't you share a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I am a business strategist and content expert. I am originally born and raised in a very small town, 1,000 people, Lansford, Pennsylvania is where I grew up, but married a Canadian. And I've been a dual citizen for a few years, and I'm living outside of Toronto. So went from like small town, everybody knows your name, to the big old city. And my husband and I started working together in the last year. We've really nailed in and like zeroed in on what we do. I'm a nurse by degree, worked in the ICU and intensive care and started that way, but always had a passion in health and fitness. Got online with my first business doing that because I didn't want to trade hours for dollars, and really realized how much I love the content, the video, the creation, the strategy, kind of being the face of the business. My husband has over 15 years in development, design, tech, that sort of world, and lead generation. And it wasn't until one day I started doing a side hustle of coaching content. He was doing his thing on the side. And one day we were literally at a pub having a beer, talking about our businesses, and we're mapping out where do people get stuck along the way when they're creating and getting online. And we were like, oh my gosh, some people have the tech, but they don't have the content and the message. Some people have the content and the message. Oh my gosh, they don't have the tech, and then they can't drive leads to it. So we were like, hello, husband and wife, we should work together. And I ended up killing all my plan Bs with coaching in health and fitness, going down that world, and completely transitioning over into working full-time with my husband, growing our agency. So I have three kind of, lisapesic.com is a personal brand. Infinite Design House is our website funnel design development company. And then Sales Booster is our lead generation agency that we run. So right now it's like, it's been a huge transition. We got a lot of moving pieces and we're really trying to get the legs in, like, what is the system and the process, and what really are our parts that we have nailed down. So it's been exciting. It's been fun, but it's been wild going through so much change over the last even just like 3 to 5 years.
All right, good. So I love that you shared all that, because for everybody watching, this is what Lisa knows today, right? This is, and I'm just going to adjust this slightly. This is what you know today. This is, you know, hey, starting here, here's what I would say about what I do. And our goal in this hour is to dive deeper into the purpose, deeper into the why, deeper into the who, so that we can sharpen the answer to that. I'm going to suggest that most of the things you just said are the processes you lead.
Yes.
Right? So right now, when you're saying, here's what I do, you speak about process. Here's our origin story, how we built this, and here's what we do in terms of process, which insinuates result, right? All great stuff, all valuable. And when I met you, and the more I got to know you, you know, our conversation has been this: hey, all good. You're a go-getter. You know how to get things done. You know how to accomplish things and check the box and build. Awesome. And right. And there is this life force in you that is the life force that drives you to be in motion and get this all done and keep saying yes. And this life force is bigger than you, right? So there's a life force that's in you that's bigger than you. And here's what I mean by that. The life force isn't meant to only for you. The life force is the thing that guides you, that compels you, that steers you, that opens things up, that has people like us meet. And that life force, when I say it's bigger than you, what I mean by that is there's something in your guts, in your soul, in your heart that wants to be expressed that's bigger than Lisa, that connects to a larger movement, a larger tribe, and a larger purpose in this world. And the more we can have you understand, here's why I'm on the planet, here's how that relates to what I do and who I serve and why I do it, the more the right people will understand not just what they can get from you in terms of process, but why they should get that process served and met by you instead of anyone else in the world. And that's really my goal when I do messaging work with people, is to help us communicate with the world in such a way that our right people see and understand and like get in their bones, holy crap, of all the people I could go to get this need met, you're the one, right? Without question, you're the one. So that's where we're going. Deal?
Deal.
All right. So I'm going to do a little kind of close my eyes, tune in here a little bit, and we'll go from there. So the first image that I see is a bear, like a mama bear with a roar. So highly protective, strong, fierce, you know, and has this courage in her heart. And so there's this courageous heart that you have that has you keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up and be a defender of dreams. And largely what you've been doing is being a defender. You've been being a defender of your own dreams in your personal life. And in the business, you're a defender of other people's dreams. And what the next motion is to be a defender of your own dreams in the business. To be a defender of your own dreams in the business. Now, in order to be a defender of your own dreams, we need to know what the dream is. And so largely what this conversation is going to be about is about what the dream of your heart is. What is that soul song? What is that soul's call? What is that fierce warrior in you that refuses to take a back seat? Why is it here? You came into this earth for a reason. And once we understand what that reason then is, then we can apply it to the business and say, now, how do you become a defender of that dream alongside all the other dreams you go to bat for? And that's the work. How does that land for you?
Wow. Spot on for sure. Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that my guidance always says is that all inspired ideas, and I would say ideas, all inspired impulses, all inspired, wow, I need to do this in the world. All inspired ideas have a life force to them. And everything required for the full expression of that thing is connected to it, not us, to it. And so often when we're going into our intellect, what we're asking ourselves is, how do I make this work? How do I build this? What's my next step, right? We're very focused on like, how do I do this thing? And the shift I want to help you start making is to see and feel there's this something in me that's connected to me that wants to express, but it's not my intellect. I can't make sense out of what it is with my intellect alone. I need to tune into this impulse. So the question for you, this is a good double I word for you. Is it impulse or is it intellect? Is it impulse or is it intellect? Intellect is not bad. This is not down with the intellect, up with the impulse. This is about order. What goes first? And what I'm suggesting is you're going to have a much better time going impulse first, then back up impulse with intellect, with skill, with knowledge, with implementation, right? But to lean more deeply into impulse than maybe you have a habit of doing right now. Your survival strategy in life required you to become really good at things. Yeah?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. You have so I know a little bit about your story. I'm wondering if you can just share a little bit about your story, because I think it will highlight why you built the skill that got you to where you are now. And then we can go into, great, now what's the next skill to add in for where you're going? So share just a little bit about your backstory.
So I never wanted to be a nurse. That was, beautiful profession, beautiful skill, learned empathy and a lot of amazing things about what matters in life and what doesn't from that. Being an ICU nurse, go-getter, get things done, be in charge, be a leader. But it was living out my mom's dream. And that was probably the end of a whole pattern of really growing up conditioned to, you do what I say or else. My mom has, undiagnosed many, many mental disorders, and very much so I was the punching bag, verbally, emotionally. Food was on the table, clothes on my back, went to school, but emotionally just absent. And I was left to
an example of the punching bag.
Yeah, she always commented on my weight. She commented on who I dated, what I looked like, my appearance. I was fat. I had to lose weight. I'd just be thankful I have a job and do this and do that. And you're going to date this boy. You got to set the table this way. You didn't do that right. This wasn't good enough. It was just, one day it would be, you're the most beautiful daughter. I love you so much. And then the next day it's like, you're the dumbest person ever. Who do you think you are? nobody's ever gonna, you be thankful you have a husband, you be thankful you have a job, you don't ask for any more. Who would even hire you? We were at the table Thanksgiving, and my husband was about to hand me a piece of pumpkin pie after the meal. We had a beautiful meal together. Wine was flowing. We were laughing. We were having a great time. We were engaged at the time. And my mom stood up in front of the entire family and said, Lisa Marie, don't you dare even put another piece of food in your mouth. You're going to be too fat to even fit into any wedding dresses. Like in front of my entire, I'm like nothing. Like my husband's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's normal. And sabotage, tried to sabotage the wedding, tried to sabotage my son's birth, like didn't want me to be happy, just sabotaged everything that ever brought me joy or happiness. And one day I had received some text. I cut off contact for the most part with her. And my phone was just going off and off and off and off and off. And I was driving out for my nurse educator job. I was traveling. And my first thought as a mom and wife was, oh my God, something happened to my son or to my husband.
Yeah.
I better pull over and look at it, and pulled out the phone. And it was, Lisa, you're heartless, you're soulless. I wish you were never my daughter. I don't approve of you. And I slammed down the phone. I had the hands on the steering wheel. I hadn't even looked up yet. I was bawling, and something in my gut said, stop. And when I slammed on the brakes, I heard the horn first, and then I saw it, and this massive transport truck, like literally, if I would not have slammed on my brakes, I think I would have been killed. I would have been dead on impact, I believe, at how fast it was going and the rate it was going. And it literally was that split second slam, and like time stopped. And that was about 5 years ago. And that was truly the moment where I said enough is enough. Completely cut off all contact. But it was that cycle of, with that narcissist and being a people pleaser and always going back and trying to be a good girl and do the right thing and always apologize and be good for mom. And so, for me to survive in school, in, everything, I had to fight for myself. I had to navigate for myself. I had to learn how to survive doing things I didn't want to do, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know that there was a different path that I could take. And zero support, just, on my own, figuring stuff out.
Let me ask you this, because that was the reset, right? Slam on the brakes, literally and metaphorically. Reset, right? That moment is that big turning point moment. Enough. One of the things we do in all of us in our childhoods, yours is just a bit more like pronounced and acute around some of this stuff, is we take on beliefs about ourselves, to make sense out of the world and what's going on. And it has a great impact on how we see the world and what we do and don't do. So for example, if you grow up with a dad that always says, oh, you're such a loser, you'll take on the belief, I'm a loser. And you'll do it to try to retain dad's love, right? And then we do two things in response to these beliefs. We both sometimes collapse into them. Oh my God, I'm such a loser. And we fight against them, right? I'm going to be a winner at all costs. And we work externally to try to prove the belief we have internally to be untrue, right?
Yep.
That's what I call the wound-driven operating system. And it's really valuable in the training and development of our life's gifts, because that reactivity and that fight against it is powerful fuel. We do a lot in relationship to what we're fighting against. And it's like going to the gym each day. We build muscle, we build skill. And then there's this point where the universe, your soul, says, all right, good, check, muscle built. That was the training program. Now it's prime time. Now it's time to use the gifts in service of your purpose. So moving towards something rather than reacting away from something, right? A different directional impulse in terms of how your life is motivated.
Yeah.
So let's look at the old operating system. And I feel like today we're going to lean in a bit to the new one for you personally. Then we're going to look at how this whole cosmology relates to who your tribe might be. Then we'll look at how that informs what problems you make promises around in your business and how that might shape our messaging. Cool?
Yep.
Good. So Lisa, you're this. Lisa, you're that. Lisa. If you were to look, especially maybe in your younger years, and you were to play the internal tape in your darker moments and said, oh, I'm such a what would we hear in the internal tapes?
I'm such an F up. I can't do anything right. Appearance is everything. You have to look beautiful. You have to be the best at everything. You're rewarded for your achievements and what you do and how you make people feel. Other people's feelings are way more important than yours.
Yep. And you're such an F up, you're never going to amount to anything. If that's true, what does it make you? A what?
Loser.
A loser. All right. And I know you're so fat, you're so fat, you're so fat. So we might even say fat loser. Right? Just to like do that a little bit. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Hit me extra on the way out for that one. So, I'm a fat loser. I'll never amount to anything.
Yeah.
So that's happening on one side. Then there's the compensation for it, which is I'm on my own. I got to freaking make this work. And this weird duality in your world, which is I'm a loser, an F up, I'll never amount to anything. And I get praise for my accomplishments, so I better get busy. Praise for my accomplishments, for being pretty, for being the nice one, the likable one, etc. So you go out and you become hell-bent on being super good at everything you do,
True.
A.
True.
And B, being super likable while you're doing it.
True.
Right?
Yes.
So by golly, I'm super competent and you can like me. Right?
Yep.
Who wouldn't want that? And so pretty soon you find that not only is that an insistence from your mother, but you get praise from everywhere for it, from your teachers, from your friends, from clients, from employers. Everybody loves it, right? And there's this piece, this one little glitch in it, which is, where am I? What about me? What about my happiness? What about what I want? Right? And so you've been in this journey from let me prove, let me do, let me produce to, hey, wait a minute. Like what I see in you is you're someone who's at this turning point from, okay, I don't have to prove to anybody anymore that I can produce. I know that about myself. I don't have to prove to anybody that I can be likable and liked. Have lots of evidence for that. Check, check, done. So now if I've proven to myself I can really do kind of anything I put my mind to, be successful at it, and be liked while I do it, well, then where do I put my attention? And that's the shift right now. And this is I'm a bear who will go I'll fight for anybody's dreams. Yes. And what about my dream? And it's it's the dormant dream in your life, your dream, right? Now let's just add to it a couple things, which is mother and wife, right? Two archetypes that are super giving archetypally, and don't think as much about themselves archetypally. Right? So we just got that to add on to the whole thing. Right? And then Oh, I guess we could just add a third thing, which is as an entrepreneur, when you can produce and have people like you, they like it a lot. So you keep getting accolades for it and money.
Yes.
So there's not a lot of external impulse to attend to your own dreams.
True.
Right?
Yes.
Which is why it's going to require that mama bear energy being applied to you for you to go to bat for your own dreams. Now, what I do know is that you have a husband that will back you up 100%.
Yes.
Right. So you have an environment that actually has some leeway for that you don't have to fight for, that's already in place. So now let's talk about where we're going, because that's where we've been, right? And there's a pattern in where you've been. And I look at patterns when I look at message and tribe, because what I find is that whatever pattern we've lived is oftentimes the pattern our ideal tribe is currently trying to navigate through. Whatever pattern we've lived is a pattern they're trying to navigate through. Why would that be? Well, in my belief system, if you spent your life navigating a certain landscape rather than just trying to like get through it and move on, doesn't it make sense that you would serve from it? Right? Rather than anything else, that's where you have the most experience.
Right.
And the pattern I hear is, this is a weird way to say it, but it's how it's coming, a negative relentlessness. Here's what I mean by that. So there's a relentlessness, but a certain quality of relentlessness, which is because there's that book Relentless and whatnot, right? There's a quality of relentlessness has that heroic quality. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a relentlessness that you will never let up on yourself, that you are harder on yourself than anybody will ever know. And archetypally, it's taken your mother's relentlessness and adopted it in relationship to yourself.
That is true.
I just know a smidge or two about being hard on yourself. Yep.
Yep.
And I'm going to suggest that the people that need more than just your agency services, but actually need a deeper something from you, are also people that are unrelenting in their relationship to themselves. That they will kill themselves for their success. They will drive so hard for their success. And look, I don't know how old you are. I'm going to assume you're in your 30s. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So look, in your 30s, you can get by with it. Your body still has enough oomph to it's like the image I'm seeing is like one of those old wooden ships in a massive storm in the Atlantic. And the wood's strong enough that it can withstand these smacks from the ocean. And your body is strong enough that it can withstand it for now. But if it doesn't change by the time you're in your mid 40s and beyond, the proverbial shit will hit the fan. Right?
Yeah.
Probably in your marriage, probably in your body, probably in your parenting, because now you're going to have a teen on your hands by that time. Oh, God. I know. Scary to hear. Because your boy's what, 5 now?
5, yeah, going to be 6. Yeah.
Right. And at that point, the constant battering of the ocean of this relentlessness has could break you. And break many other things. So there's something in you that's been saying, nope, time to listen, time to change, time for this next chapter.
Yes.
So first, let's talk about your tribe, then we'll talk about you. So I'm going to suggest that one of the patterns for your tribe is this unrelenting expectation they have of themselves. And I'm curious, in the work you've done with your clients, if you've had any clients that have that, they're unrelenting in their drive. And if those are the people that you seem to like, I know you, and work really well with, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
There are people that have been told this. That's what fires me up, is people that have been told this idea is stupid. This idea isn't going to work. You don't know what you're talking about. You'll never be successful. Who are you to do that? That's already been done. That's already been tried. That's not going to work. You're crazy. You're this, you're that. And then I get in and I get the meat of, oh no, you got something, and you got something good that's going to change the world. And I believe in you, and let's do this.
Yeah. All right, good. So I want to share a concept with you, because that's what I'm going to call, it's transformational in a way, but I'm going to actually connect it to a bit more to transactions. So let me just do a little bit of training with you real quick, and we're going to map this out for you and your tribe.
Okay.
So when I work with people, I'm always finding what's the thing that you can do in the world that is yours uniquely to do, you and you alone, right? Now, there's one axis. We're going to work on two axes here. The first one is transaction. Oops, I want the same color. Transaction. So the transaction is the nuts and bolts thing you offer that a lot of other people offer, right? And so for you, it's, oh, we have a done for you agency,
right?
Right. So we'll help you develop your offers and your signature program and build the funnel to feed leads and all that good stuff. Great. So you do it, but you're not the only people in the market that do that.
Right.
And I always like to think about it this way. If we had 10 done for you agency providers lined up and 100 prospects lined up, how do those 100 people know which one of those 10 they should choose? Right?
Yeah.
Most people compete when you're in transaction. You're competing on 4 levels: price.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Time, how fast can you do it? So time and money, big 2.
Yep. Yep.
Features and benefits, what's different that you have that other people don't have?
Yep.
And personality.
Yes.
And most people in the kind of work you do largely compete on personality. Do you like us more than other people?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But there's no real rhyme or reason to them making a choice other than the time and money is roughly equivalent to others. Maybe it's a bit more, maybe you have better features, but I like these guys, so I'm going to go over there. All right, great. That whenever you're doing time, money, features and benefits, personality, and competing on that level, you are a transactional service provider in terms of your marketing. But I like to find out, well, who are the people that are like you're born to serve? Who are the people that will get more value from you than any other competitor you have? Who are those people, right? And how do we find where that 1 square inch is in the market that you can drill a mile deep? Where does that exist? Well, if we only have this axis and an XY axis, transaction, we don't know where to, we don't know, should it be here, 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 here? Where on that line should we drill a mile deep? Spend all your energy, all your money, all your effort, all your life force building the brand right there, right? So then we would need another axis. If we really wanted to understand where that is, we need another axis to create X, Y, right? To create where these two things intersect, boom. In fact, I'll draw it with a straight line here. Oh, check that out. Right there. Huh. if this is true, right, then we know, oh, look, here is the 1 square inch. I can drill a mile deep right there. Now, what is the other axis that lets us know that is where to drill? Well, I'm going to suggest it's transformation. Who do these people need to become to not just get the transaction, but to get and sustain the transactional benefit? Because you might be able to do something for them once, but they might not be able to keep going on their own without you, right? Or they might lean too heavy on you, and then it's just this like catty-wampus relationship where they have, where they've become victims and you're the heroes, and that's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So transformation on its own is fundamentally what? It's from somewhere to somewhere, right? So first of all, in the transaction, you need people that have something awesome, but haven't built it or gotten it into the market.
Right.
And they need to move to somebody who has gotten their genius into the market and is being recognized and rewarded for it. So that's the transaction, right?
Yep.
And we can add some more things about what makes that so in terms of designing their courses and all that sort of stuff. But then there's this other thing, the transformation, and this is the conversation, because you've already got an awesome transaction. You've got a from to in the transaction. I believe there is a from to in the transformation that is already there, but maybe it's not built into your marketing. Maybe it's not built into your message. Maybe there's more we can do to help people understand not just what you do, but who you do it for and why it's those people, so that more of the right people say yes to you more often, right? So there's and this from to isn't necessarily just one thing, it may be a couple different things. So we already heard one from you, which is from, I'm going to, in quotes, say everyone. Everyone, we don't know who the big capital T, they said, I can't do it. There's not a market for it, and I should forget about it. Sound about right?
Yep.
2, I believe in myself, my work, my value, and and am experiencing regular reflection of my value. Right? So from I don't have anything to I know I have something and I'm living that I have something. There's another one in here, which is something like from, and this is the one that I feel like you're on. I work my butt off to prove myself. 2, and it's related to this other one. And I'm just like, I sometimes hate when we speak in this language, but I'm so getting it for you. I'm gonna use total Jeffrey language here for a minute, and we'll translate it to Lisa language. I'm sitting in my seat of authority. I'm not doing this to prove this to anybody. I've got nothing to prove anymore. That's not even the game I'm playing. I'm sitting in my seat of authority. And in my seat of authority, there's none of this working to prove myself. There's a ease and confidence without a push. That's the arc of transformation I see for you and your tribe. How does that land for you?
Yes.
How would you language I'm seated in my authority?
Like I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm speaking my truth. I'm
living my truth.
Yeah, I'm living my truth. I'm fully in it. It's like not natural, but yeah, like there's no other reason than because I want to.
Yep.
And it feels right.
Yep.
It is right.
Yep. 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 There's an energetic shift as well from I'm pushing and proving to I'm becoming increasingly magnetic. I need to prove it to you is the first. And on the other side, I'm so sitting in, I got it.
Yeah.
That I'm just super freaking attractive in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of people that say they're attracted as well because they're like, you came from being a nurse all the way to what you do now. Or like you never had anyone that believed and you've shown that it's possible.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, or that, like people that go from like MBAs in finance in corporate America to teaching meditation and sound bowl retreats. And they want me to help them get their message out to the world. That's like a current client right now that wants to teach that everyone can do meditation. Corporate, MBA, New Yorker, September 11th, in the grind, in the hustle.
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
So I want you to sense something there, Lisa. First, the grind and the hustle. Your people come from the grind and the hustle. It's almost as if it's a country, like a land. Like the land they come from is the land of hustle.
Yeah.
I come from the land. I speak my language. What's that song?
I come from a land down under.
Right. I come from the land of hustle. And, like that's the land they come from. That's the world they come from.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is where they're getting tripped up. Unbeknownst to them, they're still, even though they may have left their hustle job, their job hustle, right? I'm in New York, I'm wherever, I'm doing my thing. Even though they may have physically left the hustle, they haven't mentally or emotionally left the hustle. And so they're trying to apply the hustle to their success in their new body of work. They found something that gave them relief and they want to bring it to the world. But when they go to build the business to bring this relief to others, they step back into the hustle to bring the relief to others.
Yeah. And it's a lot of this has to work. And I'm like, why? Is the world going to blow up if you don't like make $1 million on your first launch? But I think it's that, oh my God, I'm hustling and it has to work. And if it doesn't, then I haven't proved that I'm a success. I see that now.
Yeah.
It's the wrong motivation.
That's the trap for your tribe.
And I fall into that trap.
Sure, of course you do. You need to learn what you need to teach and guide.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you need to be able to be like, sister, I feel you.
Oh, that's huge. That makes sense, though. We're always like, why are people so like sick for their launches or their ideas or proving that you got to say it this way? And like, not, I don't want to say inflexible, but almost sometimes it's like inflexible with people. And we're like, time out. Like, you got to trust this, you got to believe this. And they're very like, but again, because they've hustled, improved, and come from the land of.
I come from the land of
I never
hustle.
hear that song ever again and not think of that.
Random aside, when I first moved to LA, a friend of mine and I went out randomly. We're like, let's do something different. And there was some Latin singer at this little jazz club in the valley called the potato, the hot potato, the baked potato. I don't know, some potato bar. They literally have like a stuffed potato menu. That's all they serve in terms of food. Some little hole in the wall jazz club. And Colin Hay, who sang that song, apparently is the Latin singer lady's boyfriend or partner or something.
Oh.
So all of a sudden we're sitting there in the middle of like nowhere in this little club, and he comes out and does a guest appearance and sang that song. It was super fun.
That's awesome.
So here's the way that I would speak to this audience. You've got to meet them where they're at, right? Yep. And speak in their language. And at some point, there's a point where you can bring illumination into the conversation that has them see, wow, you get me more than anybody does.
Mm-hmm.
So a conversation might sound, I feel like I'm like a little something like this. Hit it, DJ. But it might sound a little something like this. Look, I know you've spent your life fighting. I know you spent your life proving yourself and working yourself to the tail to get where you are. And at some point in your life, you found something that gave you some relief, something that brought you value, something that ushered in a whole new way of living for you that you're now hungry to bring to the world. I know that you've worked really hard to develop what this is, to understand what you're doing, to understand everything you're meant to bring to the world. You've probably taken all sorts of marketing courses, gone to all the free webinars, you've bought all the technology, yep. But you're a little lost when it comes to putting it all together and having it actually work.
Yes.
Now, there's a couple of things that we do here in our agency. One is we are the people that roll up sleeves and put it all together for you. And there's two slices of the pie that need to be married together for your business to work. One is to really understand what the messaging and the go-to-market strategy is and to really lay claim to the true value of this in the world. The other is to have the tech and the implementation to back it up, to drive leads, to close sales, and to build your business. We do both. Now, we don't do it for just anybody. The people we do our best work with come to us with this deep sense that it's got to work. That whatever this launch is that you're planning, you're staking your whole life on it on some level. And as much as you feel with every fiber of your being that it must work, I got a little secret for you. Sometimes the old drive that drove you to find a new way of living is the same drive that's keeping you in the grind of bringing this new way to the world. And frankly, the old way of working won't bring the new technology to the world. When we work together, we step in to give you a solid ground where you feel safe, where you can take a breath, where you can know that it's all handled professionally and with great execution. We'll get you a launch. We'll help you build the business. It will work. But most of all, you'll get to be the person you learned to become throughout the whole process and not lose yourself in the constant search for success.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful and true.
How do you feel like your people would respond to that?
Yep. They would say, you get me. You are in my head. I want to work with you because you get it.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we could, we can flesh that out and add more to it, but that's the general arc. One of the things that we sometimes do at some point in the messaging, not right at first, is we give them an either or choice that is non-negotiable. And then if they want to take one path, you are a logical place to get it. So I'll just add the either or choice to the diagnosis. So we went from reminding them of who they are, seeing the work they've put in, telling them what you want for them, that they want to, diagnosing the reason they're working so hard and so at high alert levels around this, illuminating them around why continuing that way won't actually work. And then we've got to direct them. And the directing them is an either or choice. So the directing is saying, look, you have two choices here. You can either continue to hustle and continue to push, trying to bring work to the world that isn't meant to have push in it. And if you do that, one of two things will happen. Either people will feel your push in it, and frankly, they won't respond as much as it sounds great. That's most likely. If somehow you fool them, they might get the benefit and you'll be the one left in the dust, having worked yourself to the bone for other people's benefit and left yourself at the door. Or you can partner with people who understand you and understand how to strategically bring your work to the world that doesn't require the hustle, that doesn't require you to stay in the same push. And as a result, when we use the strategies and use the work we put in, people will naturally see what you have, recognize you in it, see that you're the one to bring it, and naturally respond. In that world, not only do they get the benefit, but you get it as well.
Yes.
Now, whether you do the second option with us or with somebody else, that's up to you. But I'm going to suggest that that is your choice. Which one would you like? Now, if you went through all those things, there is a piece of psychology that's happening behind the scenes, which is, if you know this much about me, and we've never even met, right? I might be watching a Facebook ad or whatever it is. If you know this much about me and we've never even met, if you're able to diagnose the problem I'm having without even talking to me, if it feels like you're inside of my head and inside of my world and we've never laid eyes on each other, what might happen if I actually work with you?
Right.
And if you've been that precise in diagnosing and directing me, saying, hey, here's your either or option, and it feels true to me. If I want to take the road less traveled, if I want to take option B, am I going to maybe hire you, want to have a conversation with you about working together? Or am I going to go searching for some other Yahoo?
Right.
Probably not. You're going to become the obvious choice. So the psychology here is when you can diagnose my problem more clearly than I can for myself, you become the obvious place to go for the solution. That is the power of having the transformational arc connected to your transactional benefit. When those two things come together and we're able to marry them in your messaging, then your audience sees, oh, you're really my only option. If I want to do that thing, I need to work with you. And then on your side, the benefit you get is the people that you end up working with are the people that need what you've got more than anybody else in the world. You do your best work with those people and enjoy it the most.
Yes.
Also, lastly, when you find this 1 square inch, you can drill a mile deep. This place that you and you alone own in the market, right? Nobody else can touch me right here. That's mine. There might be somebody here and somebody here and these different places. Their people need something else.
Mm-hmm.
Your people can only get what you have from you. And when that's the case, your value goes up exponentially, and you can actually charge premium amounts for a premium service.
Yep.
So do better work and make more money doing it.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So one more piece and we'll close. I believe for you to live in integrity with this message, it requires something of you, which is to place your focus on what is my dream?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I at in this whole equation of service? What am I going to bat for in my own life?
Mm-hmm.
Not leaving yourself at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Because really what we're always looking for, we don't know this, but what we're always looking for is someone where message and messenger are one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As our buddy Bo says, where the cuffs match the color, right? Yeah. My language, poetic, I would say where you're the living embodiment of your brand's promise.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do the words make sense, but I can feel the truth of them resonating off from you as you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this does not have to be taken on as the new project to work yourself in the bone around. Right? Yeah, well. So this is not only, oh, what's my dream, but how do I approach my dream in a new way? Mm-hmm. Where are the times where I listen and lean into that feeling in my own heart that wants some air, that wants some attention, right? Is it on a bike ride? Is it in the shower? Is it while I journal? Is it on the plane? Is it, where do I spend time listening to that life force, that impulse that keeps calling me forward? Mm-hmm. Not to become a worker bee for it, but to partner with it. Mm-hmm. That's the shift. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is to look at your life, look at your calendar, look at the setup of how your life and your business is set up and say, where in my life, where in my business am I set up to attend to that thing? Yeah. And if you don't see much of it, then to, get your Sharpie out and start making some changes. Yes. Right? Yeah. And if you're like, but we have so much to do and all clients and this and that, great, good. Guess what? The more you do this, the more you'll be able to charge. The more you'll be able to charge, the less clients you have to take on, the more space you will have. Indeed. Right? Yeah. So there is the piece is, okay, this is the final piece. I always say that, maybe it's not. The phrase that I just heard is to trust yourself with your dream. Mm. To trust yourself with the dream. Mm. Wow. You can be trusted with your own dream. Mm. Mm. Wow. Good? Yeah. Anything you want to say before we close?
It's always so interesting when you know what you're doing, like on the outside is working, but on the inside isn't working. And you just, like you said, you only know sometimes how to survive based on, you only know what you know.
Yeah.
And then when you have something like this, I don't know, hope is the right word, but you just go, oh,
Yeah.
okay. There's like, it's not that it's even a whole 360. It's just a little, like it's just a little tilt. Like, you know, because sometimes like where you're saying with that, like, I'm like, oh my God, like I've already changed from nurse to trainer to now content marketer. Like, my God, am I going to have to reinvent myself a fourth time?
Right.
Am I not going to be, you know, but it's like, no, you're on the right path. It's just, it's that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is just that little tilt.
Yeah.
And that's huge, huge. And so true. Like Eric always, my husband Eric always says, like, you pack us too tight. We have too many meetings. We have too many clients. We have too many things. And it's right. It's like, I got to have more space to just go, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So from now on, so there is the proactively looking at your calendar and space. There's also that moment by moment, day in, day out impulse to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to encourage you to be more judicious with your yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the place I want you to check in on is, am I still in the push and prove? Is that where this yes is coming from? So, these are such strong words, but they're what I'm coming. Is this yes a liberating yes or an enslaving yes?
Mm-hmm.
Will this liberate or enslave? One or the other.
Yep. That's huge.
Right? Just run the decisions. Just, well, but hold on a second. You know what I think we should do is, right? Yeah.
And it's your gut. Like, my gut knows these things, but I bypass it to prove and please and perfect. And it's like, every time I go, even if I don't know what it is, but I go, or time out. I need a little bit more time before I say yes to that.
Yep.
There's always a reason like behind that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, my dear. Super, super fun. What a joy. Thank you. Thank you for your full presence here, and hope you got value from being here.
Oh my gosh, you are a gift. I'm so thankful that our worlds collided and we're together, and you are a gift to this world. So thank you for your knowledge and your expertise and your love. The way you love on people. I love it.
You got it. You got it. Good. So for everybody that's been here, I just want to thank you for your time, for your attention, for your willingness to lean into this conversation. And one takeaway I would invite you to bring into your life is around, what are your yeses? And when you have opportunities in front of you, does your yes liberate you or does it enslave you? And that might be a powerful frame for you to use around decision making over the next week. Just run it as an experiment, see what you find out. And what I know is that the more you liberate yourself, the more you become a liberator in the world. If you'd like to find more about what we do here in the world of the Courageous Messenger and how we support messengers with their message and who they are as a messenger in the world, you can go to thecourageousmessenger.com. For previous episodes or to watch this episode again, you can go to thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast. And as I said at the beginning of today's episode, at the top of that page, you'll see two links. The first one is to apply to be a guest. So if you're watching this going, oh man, I would love to spend an hour in this format, go ahead and click on that link, apply to be a guest. We do review all those applications. If it feels like you might be a good fit, we'll be in touch. We do book up a good many months in advance. And because of that, we have a second link on that page, which is the ability to dive in right now to your message and who you are as a messenger in this world. And with that, you click on it to sign up for a message mentoring session. We have a very specific diagnostic to understand where you're at with your message, what's working, what's not working, and why. Then we will send you to a complimentary training to dive more deeply into what's really required for you to sharpen your message and your influence in this world. And of course, if there's ways that we could work more deeply together to support you in bringing your message to the world, we'll have a follow-up call to talk about that. So whether it's applying to be a guest on the show or applying for a message mentoring session, simply go to thecourageousmessenger.com/podcast. You'll find both of those links there. And until the next one, we send you all our love. We'll talk real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.